and welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm Chelsea Leite, and joining me today is Kia Nurse. She is a WNBA All-Star, a Canadian Olympian, and she's making her Athletes Unlimited debut this week. So we get into all of that, and then we have a little bit of fun. So thanks for joining us on Locked On Women's Basketball, presented by FanDuel.
You are Locked On Women's Basketball, your daily podcast on women's basketball. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On Women's Basketball. I'm here with Canadian Olympian and WNBA All-Star Kia Nurse, who has escaped the Toronto cold and left us to go play in Athletes Unlimited in Nashville, which I am very jealous of because it snowed so much here this week. Kia, how are you?
I am doing good. Honestly, I was excited to get out of the cold for a little bit. Walking the dog was a bit of a challenge in that wind chill. It's not super hot here. I thought when I was packing, I was like, oh, I'll get on my summer stuff. My boyfriend was like, where do you think you're going, to Florida? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know. So, but it's warm enough I can wear a sweater, and sweater weather is what I'm here for right now. So.
Yes, we love sweater weather. Yeah, the funny thing about being raised in like Canada is that you think anything south is like, oh my gosh, it's summer.
Yeah,
I'm ready. And then they're like, no, Tennessee's actually not that south.
Yeah.
Oh man. So yeah, Athletes Unlimited starting next week, which is super exciting. Like, what made you want to join? I know it's a few seasons have gone by of Athletes Unlimited, and you usually stay up in Canada and kind of do your broadcasting thing over the off season. But what kind of changed to make you want to play in the off season?
Well, what we had talked about with my agent and some of the trainers that I work with back home, every year we go back into the off season and we say what worked and what didn't work. What are the things that we can change or improve? And one of those things that we said was we want to find a way for me to play 5-on-5 in the off season that doesn't take away from my ability to continue to do the broadcast stuff. And so when we looked around at the different leagues that were created, obviously Athletes Unlimited has been around for 4 years now, and it's had a really successful 4-year run so far. Mm-hmm. And I've always watched from afar, and I've had teammates that have played in it. I've been able to see it on social media, and I've been able to watch some of the games as well. And so for me, I thought it was a great opportunity to come in, and I've been pretty open about it now, but I've had a tough couple of years with basketball, just coming back from the ACL and the injury. And so I really just wanted to be able to play 5-on-5 in the off season, but enjoy it too, and find the joy and, the excitement in basketball and the things that I really truly loved. And I knew for a fact that AU is like a very family-like atmosphere. It's a very different and unique setup in the sense that it's all player-led and player-run. Yeah. And so the scoring system is different. There's a leaderboard, one person wins the league. There's 40 players. Your teams change every week. And so I love that it's a different format. I love there's a different concept to it, and that everything that you do in the game matters because of the leaderboard. But you still have to play the game the right way in order for you to actually kind of climb that, right? So it's a challenge. It's exciting. It's a great family atmosphere. And for this first little bit that we've gotten here and gotten together, it's been really fun to be around. So really excited about what's to come.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. And, speaking of people coming down that, or teammates, is there anyone that you haven't played with that you're excited to kind of get to know more, maybe be put on a team with during AU?
Yeah, honestly, I feel like we've done a lot of kind of, welcome events and getting to know people. And we've set up our first kind of starting teams for scrimmage weeks and kind of getting ready to go. And there's just been so many players that I'm excited to like just meet and be around, because when you're on another team, I know for me, I'm a pretty like competitive person out there. So I'm like really bubbly and fun off the court, and my teammates know that about me. But on the court, I get like a little bit like fierce on it. Game face comes on. I talk a little trash here and there. And so it's been really nice to kind of be in these different environments. And just for this week, I get to hang and play with Maddie Siegrist. And obviously she's been an extremely incredible talent throughout her college career at Villanova and her early years in Dallas in our league. So it's been fun to be around her and kind of be able to see how she operates. And for me, Alicia Clark has been a player that's been around the WNBA for a really long time. And I've always heard of how great she is as a pro's pro, a great leader, a great communicator, and obviously her skill set and what she can do on the floor and her versatility speaks for itself. And so for me, I was really excited to be able to be around her and kind of see how she deals with things, her leadership, and because I want to grow my leadership. And I think that's something that she's done a really good job of. And it's hard to stay in this league. And she's shown how to do it. And so I'm excited to be around her as well.
That sounds fun. Speaking of playing overseas, it's like a huge conversation right now, obviously, with like Athletes Unlimited and Unrivaled and all the leagues all over the world. You had a very successful run in Australia playing overseas.
Yeah.
And I just want to know if there's anything that you like miss about that experience, and if you'd ever consider like going overseas again in the off season.
Yeah, I loved Australia. I always tell people when I talk about it that I would move there in a heartbeat if it wasn't, 18 hours away from everybody and everything that I love by plane. And so, I think that experience for me was one of those things when you're young, you just need to go and play, especially when you're transferring into that kind of professional ranks and how things just change. You need to feel confident in what you're doing. And overseas is a really good way to do that. And that's what I gained for being in Australia. So I miss the people that I got to meet there. I miss Australia as a whole. Like I got summer for 2 years straight. So I was never really upset about the weather situation. But I think for me, I knew that if I had an opportunity to create a life outside of basketball that was lucrative, then I would be able to stay home and train. And so I think with the way that my career has kind of moved on the broadcast side as well, and really enjoying that and enjoying being in that setting and still being able to get like a film version of a basketball fix while I also get ample time to train and get my game to where I want it to be, and then have options like Athletes Unlimited where I can come and I can play my 5-on-5 and get those live reps. It almost fits everything that I need to do that overseas could give me. And the older that you get, the more that your body needs a little bit more time in those off seasons to kind of come down and be able to perform when it needs to. So I don't know necessarily that I would go back overseas. I always say if Australia calls, I'm like, they got a piece of my heart. Like I might get a chance to do it. But now also with the national team, a lot of the stuff is kind of flipped. There's those summer tournaments, but there are those March windows, those February windows where you do have to go and qualify and play for world championships and whatnot. So it does help that I have the opportunity to kind of be ready for that as well.
Yeah, for sure. Coming up next, we ask Kia what her advice is for Canadians trying to make it big in women's basketball. We'll be right back. This is Locked On Women's Basketball. This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. What are some of your relationship green flags? We often hear about the red flags we should avoid, but what if we focused more on identifying the positive signs in our relationships, those green flags? If you're not sure what they look like, therapy can help you identify them, actively practice them, and even embody that green flag energy yourself. Whether you're dating, married, building a friendship, or just working on yourself, therapy can help you form relationships that love you back. Therapy is a great way to build healthy boundaries, improve your communication, empower you in your job, your life, your career, and it provides tools for managing everything in your life and strengthen your connections rather than just breaking down and getting in on yourself. BetterHelp makes this easy by offering online therapy with over 30,000 licensed therapists to choose from. And if you need to switch therapists, you can do so at no extra cost. Discover your relationship green flags with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/lockedonnba to get 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedonnba. And speaking of Canada, I mean, now more than ever, young people in Canada can see the vision of being a professional athlete. I mean, I know like we grew up around the same time, around the same area. And like, I have talked to so many people who are like, yeah, Keeners like broke my ankles in high school, which is always hilarious. I mean, I was too short to play high school basketball. So, thinking about, the Canadian youth now, seeing, the Toronto Tempo is coming up, seeing things like Unrivaled and AU and the WNBA just growing. Like, what advice do you have to someone who is like a high school basketball player who thinks like, oh, I can make it there? Like, what would you tell them?
Well, when I go see my kids with Keener Slate in our AAU program, a lot of the times the thing that I like to remind them is we're here to create all of these opportunities, and now they exist, right? There's so many things that these kids are doing. Like EYBL was not a thing when I played AAU. It was just everybody goes to the same tournament. And so we like to create these different avenues where they, as athletes, can go and exist in them, play in them, get seen by scouts, do all those things. So we create the avenues. What you do with it is up to you. And so a lot of opportunities will arise through basketball because now it's exciting, right? There's like pathways in the grassroots level that didn't really exist when I was there as well. And so my advice would be take those opportunities that you have and make the best out of them, because basketball ultimately is such a small community. Everybody knows everybody somehow. All the coaches all talk. And so one person in that gym might see you one day and just think, this is a really good basketball player. And that will trickle down it'll get into other people's ears. And, they do the intangibles, they do this. Like, it's easy. There's so many players in the world that can score. Like, it's so easy to be a person who can put up 20 or 30 points a game, but can you do everything else, right? Yeah. Can you make the right play? Can you say, I have a good shot, but that person beside me has a great shot, I should give that one up? Can you defend at a high level? And so being all around in your game is another big piece of it as well. Doing the things that coaches don't have time to teach, right? They don't have time to teach your effort. They don't have time to teach you to kind of be that person that understands, this is when I need to be serious and this is when I need to have some fun. And there's definitely ways to do it. I do it all the time. And so being able to kind of have that. But I would also give some advice to parents. Like, let your kids be kids. Let them enjoy it. Let them have fun. Everything's like, let's get to the elite levels. Let's go get our kids in X, Y, and Z, and let's put them in 20 camps and they're 12 years old. Like, let them enjoy what they're doing. My best memories from basketball exist from playing Hamilton Transway and being with this group of girls that I still am best friends with to this day. And that was all because those parents, we all knew what it was. We were there to enjoy it. We were there to have fun. We won a lot of games. We were a very good basketball team. But we can also sit in a room together now, 10 years after we graduated from high school. All of those parents and all those kids can sit in a room for Christmas parties. And we do that and we look around and we're like, this doesn't happen anymore, because parents just want to start drama for no reason, right? So let your kids be kids, let them enjoy it. Like, that's a big piece of it too.
Yeah, that's awesome. And now kind of flipping over to, a little bit more about Canada, but differently. Obviously, you travel back and forth from Canada quite often. I want to know, what is something you always pack when you leave Canada to bring with you? And what's something that you get as soon as you get back into Canada?
I travel a lot more now actually, than ever. This has been the first year and I'm getting really good at the carry-ons and rolling on through. So outside of like the typical essentials of your wallet and your, Nexus on your passport and that, I always have a book with me. It's either a book or a Kindle. So there's always something in there that I can read, that I actually just really genuinely enjoy, because reading is kind of like my side hustle. And every time I come back to Canada, it's hard for me not to stop at Timmy's. Yeah. Because I really do enjoy Timmy's. And I really do like a chocolate dip donut. It's like my guilty
those are so good.
My whole life.
Yeah. Mine's the sour cream glazed. Everyone always roasts me for the sour cream glaze. I'm like, no, it's good.
No, it hits. It hits. As long as it's glazed. If it's just like the plain old fashioned, I'm always like, no. Okay.
Yeah. Coming up next, we get to know Kia Nurse a little bit better by asking her some fun questions. This is Locked On Women's Basketball. Super Bowl 59 is here. One game, two teams, endless possibilities, and there's no better way to make every play more exciting than with FanDuel Sportsbook. Whether it's predicting the first touchdown, calling the MVP, or even betting on the coin toss, FanDuel makes it easy to get in on the action. With live betting all game long, you can adjust your bets as the game unfolds and feel the thrill from kickoff to the final whistle. The live betting feature lets you stay involved no matter what happens on the field, and the app is super easy to navigate. Plus, knowing you can place a $5 bet and potentially win $200 in bonus bets for the Super Bowl, that's icing on the cake. Download the app and head to FanDuel.com to get started. Bet just $5, and if you win, you'll score $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Bet with FanDuel, official partner of Super Bowl 59. Again, Canadian basketball, you've played on the Canadian national team for quite a while. I've been to the Olympics and all of that. Your Canadian basketball teammates, first of all, are the nicest people. Like, they are so wonderful. All of you are so great. But I do want to know, out of all of your teammates on the senior team, which one of them do you think would win the reality television show Survivor?
Oh, okay.
Desert Island.
Okay.
Doing the challenges, but also the social aspect too.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, the social aspect would throw off a couple of people. We have a couple like really big introverts, but when you get them going, you're like, okay, see, I just needed to get you out of your shell.
Exactly.
Part of me really wants to say Sammy Hill. because she would seem extremely resourceful. She is a very, very good communicator. So she fits in with like anybody, anywhere, at any time. And I think she's super fast too. So I'm like, you could run away from like anything that tries to eat you.
True.
So I'm just trying to like think of this in like really strategic way. Like,
yeah,
I say that I would win it, but I don't think I would, because at some point it would come to like a do or die situation.
Yeah.
I'm like Hunger Games. I'm leaving everybody behind and I'm out of there.
You're like, I'm gone. My thing
And
is
then I'm
that
stuck by myself.
yeah, my thing is that I can't last more than like 5 hours without a snack. So I'm like, I don't think I could do the not eating thing. But your colleague over at TSN, Josh Loomberg, he and I, that's our thing, talking about Survivor. And he's like, yeah, I could do it. And I'm like, no, I couldn't. Like, good luck. I'll vote for you. Or
no. Me and nature are not one. So
yeah. So on that note, if it was between you, your brother Darnell, who plays for the Edmonton Oilers, and your cousin Sarah Nurse, who plays for the Toronto Scepters, out of the three of you, who do you think would win?
I would give that one to Darnell.
Yeah.
He is wildly resourceful, has a lot of information about things that you wouldn't think he has information about, and then he just pulls it out, and you're like, okay. He's a big reader too, so sometimes I'm like, I don't know where you came up with that. But I mean, he lives in Edmonton, right? So you're already like, if something's cold, you're already through that. You know, you got to go heat opposite. So now he's kind of like, I don't do well with outdoors. I think me and Sarah are both pretty similar in that sense. Like we would Sarah would probably last longer than me. Like, but Darnell likes the outdoors. He likes like grounding his feet in the earth. And I'm like, okay, bro, like you could do it 100%.
Yeah. Like I'll stay indoors. I'll be at the ski chalet. You go hit the mountain.
Not going camping.
No. Speaking of books, I am a huge fan of your book updates on Instagram. I'm always tapped in because I'm always looking for a little book recommendation. I'm all up on my Goodreads challenges every year, despite like never having time to read. But I want to do a little bit of like a book rapid fire with you. So I have a bunch of questions here related to like books, and just try and think of like the first thing that comes to your mind. Okay. So what are you reading right now?
Onyx Storm.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Just like everyone else in the world.
Just like everyone. I did it because I didn't want anybody to spoil it for me. I was like, I got to read it before everyone starts putting stuff online.
Yeah, no. Then you can't even go on the internet. You're like, no, I need to block this. What's your favorite book of all time?
Oh, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
I really do like 3 books. Can I pick more than one?
Yeah.
Okay, Silent Patient is one. Not a kid's book though. It's an adult's book.
Okay.
No kids
Warning.
should read it.
Yeah.
Verity and The Wives. All 3 have really good twists. But if I'm not looking at a murder mystery, did you hear about Kitty Carr? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's the next book on your reading list then?
I'm also a Goodreads kind of person. So I usually have at home in Hamilton, I have a stack of books in a to be read situation. So I'll go in there and I'll just grab one. Did I bring any of them with me to Nashville? No, because I wasn't thinking. So I need to go to the bookstore.
Yeah, you got to go hit up one of those local bookstores, support local.
Yeah,
there you
and
go.
Find probably a new murder mystery. I wanted to read the new Ruth Ware one. I think it's One Perfect Couple. Ruth Ware is like one of my all-time favorite authors in the thriller situation. So, but that's on my book stand at home. So
yeah, gotta wait for that one. Speaking of, what's your go-to genre?
Thriller, murder, mystery, whodunits. I like to try and solve a puzzle. That's usually like my
the little twist at the end.
Oh, twist at the end, twist in the middle. If you twist at the beginning, it really throws me off. Like, but shout out to Sherry LaPena, Canadian author. Thriller girly, thriller queen. Love her books.
We love the CanCon. Audiobook or just reading a book?
Just reading. I tried audio.
Yeah.
Getting out of the car and then like not finishing it just throws me off because I don't want to listen to it in the kitchen while I'm cooking. I would only listen in the car. So just no.
Yeah, I have to be multitasking. The only time I do audiobooks is when I'm crocheting because I'm also doing something with my hands.
Okay.
So that works. Otherwise, I can't do it. So on that note, ebook or physical book?
I prefer a physical book. But if I am in like a middle of a series and we're in the middle of the season and we're traveling, I'd probably Kindle it just because too much to carry in the suitcase. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, got that weight. Carry on. You can't fit it. So if someone's asking you for a book recommendation, what's the first thing you're giving them?
The first book?
Yeah.
I'm giving them The Wives usually.
Yeah.
I usually recommend The Wives. Sometimes if they like love stories, I'll give them November 9 by Colleen Hoover.
Yeah.
But I like some Colleen Hoovers. I don't like a lot, but it's usually an easy one for people to get into. The other ones I will give is like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, Taylor Jenkins Reid, Daisy Jones and the Six. Like,
she's got Rising.
Yeah. Like to be able to connect your characters from different novels and throw them in, like it's so incredible. The other one I will say that I do recommend quite often is Carrie Soto is Back.
I love that book.
I'm not huge on like sports fiction books, but I'd rather read a sports biography.
Yes.
But when I do read a sport fiction book, and that one, for somebody who doesn't necessarily understand tennis entirely, after I read that book, I was like, I'm a tennis girly. Like, I want to be a tennis girly. Oh, man.
That book made me cry so much.
Yes.
And it was like, I think I read Seven Husbands, then Malibu Rising, and then that one. So, you kind of get the little Carrie Soto.
I think we did the same order. I'm pretty sure we did the same order.
There you go. It's like the order you should go in, because you kind of learn the inches of it, or the little, character drops. Yeah. Have you ever sat down and read a book front to back in one sitting?
Not one sitting. It usually takes me about 2 or 3 days. Like, I'm about 100 pages a day. Yeah. I do have a goal for the year. It's 35. So it's quite a few. End of the first month of the year, I'll be at 5. So I usually I really front load my schedule. And then when the season comes, I can't watch Netflix, because that's when it really throws me off, because I'm on the road, we're traveling, we're on the planes. I'm like, read.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to watch Netflix for like weeks, and you're going to be behind on your schedule. So I'm front loading this year because I'm determined to get it.
Yeah. And January's been like 8 years long. So great time to front load. Yeah. Exactly. Last one. Are you on Book Talk?
I'm not on Book Talk. I don't have TikTok at all. I never downloaded it. So I didn't get it. But my friends they'll send me some of the Book Talk stuff. Yeah. I am big on Goodreads, and I appreciate the fact that most of the people that I am very close with have very similar book tastes. And so my sister-in-law, Michaela, and I really tend to read the exact same books. So for Christmas, she's like, this was my favorite read of 2024. And I'm like, perfect. And it was so good. All the colors of the dark. It was really, really good. And so we all follow each other on Goodreads. I have like 7 friends, and we're all like, okay.
I love it. It's like a game almost. You're like, ooh, this is how far my bar is going throughout the year. Yes. Oh man. All right. One last question for you, which I don't know if you've heard about the Toronto Raptors media game or not from last year. You have? Yeah.
I've heard lots of things about this media game I was not invited to.
Which I wish you would have been, because 1, the girl representation, and 2, I need someone on my team, because last year we got beat. So it's happening again next month, but because you got to support the girlies. Last year my stat line was a whopping 3 successful inbounds into the court. So do you have any tips on how I can beat these men? Because we need to get a win this year.
Yeah. First of all, I would really love to be invited to one of these media games. I do consider myself part of the media. And though I would probably not play, because you tend to not play with the people who could potentially hurt you, I would say no, but I would just like the invitation to say no. Or I'd coach. I wouldn't mind. But I would say my best advice would be, 3 successful inbounds is something to be proud of. You got to keep the small wins where you can. Exactly. Oftentimes they like to underestimate us, right? So they might sit back a little bit, let you shoot it. They might let you dribble a couple times past you, and then they're like eyeing you for a block. Yeah. Just shoot it with confidence, right? If they're sitting back on you, don't even think about it. Think about it more as like, how disrespectful. I'm about to score this. And you just knock it down, right?
Confidence.
And then, lean on each other. Other. Whoever's talking the loudest, if they're not making baskets and they're talking the loudest, go at them. That's the person you go at. Now, if they're talking the loudest and they're buckets, maybe stay away from them.
My thing last year was I don't think I'm going to go in the paint, because most of their elbows are like my face. So I was like, you know what? I'll just wait for my like little open lanes and then I'll do that.
Tell whoever is the biggest person guarding them to like come set a screen from you like really far from the basket. Bring the big people out so you can go in. Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, I'm going to write that down and make sure nobody else on the media. Well, no, I do want them to watch this, but I'm going to be like, Kia Nurse gave me the advice. So sorry, y'all. Yeah, hopefully one day we can get you in there as a coach because, you know.
I'm trying to get there.
Exactly. But for now, you're in Nashville playing in AU, so that's amazing. But thank you so much for joining me today. This is really fun, and we can't wait to watch you here in Canada at AU. As always, love supporting from afar. But yeah, if there's anything else you want to shout out to the listeners, if you have anything else going on.
No, not necessarily. Just watch AU. It's pretty simple. There's lots of different ways. I know the WNBA app is something that we use frequently in Canada, and it's free. So it's on the front side of the payment. So it's pretty easy. You get yourself a little setup. You don't got to pay for it. You get to watch our games. A lot of excitement around women's basketball. So you either get on now or you get left behind.
Exactly. Sounds good. All right. Thank you so much, Kia.
No worries.
Thank you for joining us on Locked On Women's Basketball. Remember, Locked On Women's Basketball is free and available anywhere you listen to podcasts or on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us today. Have a great day.